You know, religion is worse than being conquered because religion is an occupying force. Religion colonization is what has happened in the world, more so in the world today from our most recent history. You know, I play this game. This is a game that I love to play on my computer. It's called Rome Total War. In the game Rome Total War, when you conquer a city-state, you have the option of occupying the city, or you can enslave the city, or you can exterminate the city. Now, of course, when you exterminate the city, you're killing off all the people. Everybody's gone, everybody's dead. And I can understand that. It's conquest, is taking resources for whatever you need. So everybody's gone, no problem, but you start over with your population and now you got to build it back up. We did not see that go on as much in history as far as people. Religion does not do that. People haven't been exterminated in the sense that in order for us to make sure that this land becomes a Christian land, let's exterminate the people. Yes, we can find situations where they said, okay, we manifest destiny, going into, and we're going to massacre these 2 million, but we're going to leave alive these other 20 million. Or even in the case of Leopold, we're going to come in and we're going to kill 20 million people in the Congo. Yes, we do have those situations of genocide, but total extermination, although it is found in your Bible of a total genocide of a society, almost total genocide, because remember, they always kept the young girls for their wives. For the most part, in recent history, it hasn't been total extermination, which is actually worse. I'd rather be totally exterminated than colonized. Now, as far as the enslavement portion of it, when you enslave a civilization, then you strip them of who they are, you spread them out, they have less likelihood of forming a community and revolting against you, and you have put them under lock and key, which doesn't allow for them to be able to rise up against you. Now, in old time, they used to allow people to maintain their religion. But here in the last, 1,000 plus, almost 2,000 years, you've been able to maintain your religion has been something that was impossible. This is something that they learned from the Roman Emperor Theodosius after 381 CE, when he commanded that everyone must become Christian. This is something that Pope Clement and Pope Pope Nicholas decreed when they said, go, if they are already Christian, then leave them alone. But if they're not Christian, make them slaves in perpetuity. This is what he decreed to Portugal and Spain to begin the transatlantic slave trade. We know the Arabs had already identified black people, South African people of sub-Saharan Africa as the cursed and should be always the children, always be enslaved by the other two children of Noah. So they had already started their trans-Saharan slave trade. This had already began. And instead of exterminating, they decided to enslave. But colonization is the worst mixture. Because not only does it destroy your spirit, destroy your culture, destroy your self-imagery, destroys your history, but it destroys your mind. You may not think about it in this term, but I want you to think about it like this. And African Americans are the easiest people to dismiss this, because if you think about it, you can't go back as far. As far back as most African Americans can go, everyone in their family has been Christian. Everyone, your entire family history. But imagine, if you will, that you are in the Congo, and here comes the Belgium, here comes Leopold and his little people. And instead of exterminating your ancestors, they enslave and colonize your ancestors. The worst part of the colonization is this. Here you are, living your life, worshiping whomever you worship. Let's just say you worship Oshun, just to use an easy name. You are worshiping Oshun. You can count back 40 generations of your family who have worshiped Oshun. Now here comes Leopold. And he beats you, he brutalizes you, he murders your neighbors, he kills all these people, he's stealing all your resources, and then he colonizes your mind and tells you that you have to start worshiping Jesus. That all your ancestors before have been worshiping demons and devils and the Antichrist, and all of them were burning in hell. And you now will worship Jesus, and now you will pass that along to your children. So you begin to have children and have more children. And these children who do hear they can see and know the history of their ancestors are now Christians. All these Christians in Africa who can reach back into their ancestry for 400 years, for 500 years, for 1,000 years, for 2,000 years, for 10,000 years. For all y'all who can reach back and know your family history that far back, you have allowed the colonization of your mind to say that every one of your ancestors prior to colonization were worshiping demons and devils and practicing witchcraft and doing all these evil spiritual things, that they will all burn in hell. You can't even logically look at the fact that your ancestors never heard of Jesus, Abraham, Isaac, Noah, any of those people. And yet you will allow the colonization of your mind to find comfort in saying that because this European came and told my ancestors this through force and violence, through rape and murder, that they worship the devil, you accept it. You accept it wholeheartedly. Not through any evangelism, not through any good works, not through anything that made Great Britain great by being great people, but purely through force and pain and fear. You have disregarded your ancestors. And even you in America, because you know that your ancestors, whether they were indigenous or they came over here from Africa, that those ancestors did not worship any Jesus, Abraham, Isaac, Moses, none of that. If they were native to the Americas, then they worship whatever the deities that particular group had. Usually something that identified with nature or the sky people. And if they came from Africa, then they were worshiping Oshun and Oromare. And yet you disregard them because your grandmama told you, and your great-grandmama told her, and the great-great-grandmama told them. But at some point, somebody came with a gun, a knife, a whip, and beat it into them and colonized their mind. And you are the continued perpetuation of that colonization. This is far worse. I'd rather be exterminated than colonized. So y'all have a great day. And remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.